Most Americans fear hurricanes, but the most destructive disasters often strike without a single gust of wind. The disaster that causes the most deaths in the US isn't the one you see coming on radar. It's the one that creeps in silently. And the true costliest natural threat in America is not what most people think. It's hiding in plain sight. When people think of natural disasters in the United States, dramatic images come to mind. Raging wildfires devouring forests, hurricanes spinning violently toward the coastline, tornadoes tearing across open fields, and floodwaters swallowing entire neighborhoods. But which of these forces, fire, water, or wind, actually causes the most destruction? Which one kills the most people? Which one leaves behind the greatest financial cost? The answer is far more complex than the dramatic images we see in the news. Disasters in America are not just measured in lives lost, they're measured in homes destroyed, cities paralyzed, infrastructure ruined, economies disrupted, and entire regions forever changed. To understand which disasters truly hit the country the hardest, we need to break down their impact from multiple angles. Human casualties, economic losses, long-term displacement, and the hidden ripple effects that extend far beyond the moment of impact. Let's start with the first category: what kills the most people? Most Americans assume hurricanes hold the top spot. After all, hurricanes dominate the news cycle with dramatic footage of catastrophic winds, storm surges, and flooded streets. But the surprising truth is that heat, simple, deadly heat, is the #1 weather-related killer in the United States. More people die from extreme heat than from hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods combined. Heat waves don't make for dramatic television coverage. There's no exploding transformer caught on drone footage, no roofs flying away, no fiery orange glow in the sky. Heat kills quietly, especially the elderly, young children with pre-existing conditions. But if heat is the deadliest, does that mean it's the most destructive overall? Not necessarily. When it comes to raw economic destruction, billions of dollars in losses, water is the undisputed giant. Flooding, storm surges, river overflows, atmospheric rivers, intense rainfall events, rapid snowmelt, and sea level rise all contribute to catastrophic financial impacts. In fact, 90% of all US natural disasters involve flooding in some form. And hurricanes, which combine high winds with enormous amounts of water, consistently produce the largest financial disasters in US history. Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Ian. These storms alone represent hundreds of billions of dollars in damage. But here's the twist. While hurricanes are the costliest individual events, the most consistently expensive disasters every year are not hurricanes, they're floods. Floods happen everywhere. Every state experiences flooding. And most Americans living in high-risk areas don't even know it. Even worse, more than half of US homeowners don't carry flood insurance, leaving them financially devastated when waters rise. But what about wind? Tornadoes and hurricanes produce some of the fastest wind speeds ever recorded. Winds strong enough to rip roofs off buildings, toss cars through the air, and level entire neighborhoods. Tornado Alley, stretching across the central United States, experiences hundreds of tornadoes each year. But as terrifying as tornadoes are, their destruction is usually localized. A single tornado can devastate a town, but it doesn't wipe out entire regions the same way hurricanes or floods do. From a national perspective, wind is destructive, but it rarely tops the charts for total damage. Now let's shift the focus to fire, the disaster that leaves behind deep emotional scars. Wildfires burn millions of acres each year, especially in states like California, Oregon, Montana, Arizona, and Colorado. What makes wildfires particularly destructive is the way they combine environmental, economic, and human costs. A wildfire doesn't just burn a forest, it destroys homes, infrastructure, electrical grids, tourism industries, and ecosystems that take decades to recover. But are wildfires America's most destructive disaster? Not in the broad sense. Their financial losses, while enormous, are often overwhelmed by the scale of flood-related events. However, in certain years, especially during megadroughts, wildfires rise to the top of the chart as the most devastating natural force. But to understand which disaster truly hits hardest, we need to zoom out even further. Because the real answer depends on how we define damage. If we define damage as economic loss, flooding and hurricanes take the lead. If we define damage as human lives lost, heat waves dominate. If we define damage as long-term environmental impact, wildfires have a powerful case. If we define damage as sheer unpredictability, tornadoes stand alone. If we define damage as national disruption, hurricanes again top the list. But there's another layer, the long-term cost that lingers long after the disaster has passed. Hurricanes and floods cause long-term displacement. Entire communities may be forced to relocate. Schools close, local businesses collapse. Infrastructure must be rebuilt from scratch. Homes may remain uninhabitable for months or even years. Mold spreads in flooded buildings. Roads crumble from erosion. Utilities take weeks to restore. Insurance companies raise premiums or pull out entirely. The ripple effect is enormous. Wildfires too create lasting damage. Burn scars destabilize hillsides, increasing the risk of landslides. Air quality drops across entire regions, affecting millions of people. Water sources become contaminated with ash. Tourism declines. Power grids must be rebuilt. Wildlife habitats vanish. And unlike floods, wildfire damage can permanently reshape ecosystems. But what about the category of disasters Americans fear most? Hurricanes. They combine three destructive elements in one: water, wind, and storm surge. Hurricanes cause the most widespread destruction of any natural hazard. And because they cover huge geographic areas, they affect millions of people at once. But while hurricanes produce devastating one-time impacts, other disasters like droughts and heat waves quietly cause cumulative damage over time. For example, drought reduces agricultural output, increases food prices, lowers water levels in reservoirs, and stresses power grids. It also sets the stage for wildfires, amplifying their intensity. And drought can last for years, costing billions of dollars without any dramatic footage that captures public attention. Another factor often overlooked is population growth along coastlines. More Americans than ever live in high-risk areas, coastal regions, floodplains, fire-prone forests, and tornado corridors. When disaster strikes, there are simply more people and more infrastructure in harm's way. That means even moderate storms can cause massive damage because the exposure is higher than ever before. Now let's look at how climate change is reshaping this entire equation. As sea levels rise, storm surges grow higher. That means hurricanes that once flooded only coastal zones now reach farther inland. Warmer oceans intensify hurricanes faster. Heavy rainfall events become more frequent. Atmospheric rivers dump unprecedented amounts of water on the west coast. Drought deepens in the southwest. Wildfire seasons extend year-round. Heat waves shatter historical records. This shift means disasters aren't just becoming more frequent, they're becoming more extreme, occurring in places where they were once rare. Areas once considered safe are now at risk, but the question remains, which disaster truly causes the greatest destruction in the United States? If we combine all measurements, economic, human, environmental, and long-term impact, the answer becomes clear. Water is the most destructive force in America. It arrives in many forms: storm surges, hurricanes, river floods, flash floods, atmospheric rivers, and even slow-onset rainfall events. Water is relentless. It destroys everything in its path: roads, bridges, electrical systems, buildings, farmland. It contaminates drinking water. It leads to mold growth, disease outbreaks, and long-term structural weakening of buildings. It leaves behind billions in damage recovery. But does that mean wind and fire are less dangerous? Absolutely not. Wind destroys violently, fire destroys permanently, but water destroys comprehensively. The United States faces a future where all three, wind, water, and fire, are becoming stronger, more unpredictable, and more interconnected. A single hurricane can cause wind damage, storm surge flooding, inland river flooding, power outages, chemical spills, and fires sparked by downed power lines. A wildfire can cause air quality crises, mass evacuations, landslides, and infrastructure failures. A heat wave can trigger drought, which fuels fires, which cause further environmental decay. Natural disasters are no longer isolated events. They are cascading systems of vulnerability. And that's why understanding them isn't just about curiosity, it's about survival. In the years ahead, the greatest danger will not be one single type of disaster. It will be the combined force of multiple disasters striking at the same time. Thank you for watching this deep dive documentary on Crisis Lens. If you found this analysis helpful, informative, or eye-opening, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video so more people can understand the true forces shaping America's future.